Are you blocking your own success? Hi, I'm Reverend Andrew Bozeman, and this is on the wings of your mind. Are you blocking your own success? Are you blocking your life progressing further? Most of us claim that we want successful lives. Of course, successful means different things to different people. But for the most part, I would say successful generally means earning enough money to easily pay your bills, living in a home that is both safe and comfortable, able to enjoy things that entertain you and relax you, like vacations, Disneyland, that kind of thing. We say that we want these things. We say that we want these things. But at the same time, we do things that sabotage us from getting the things that we want. Why do we do that? Most of us will deny that we harbor some deep-seated hatred of ourselves. But if we take a good look at our lives, we can spot it. If we look back at our lives, and instead of seeing the positive things we've done, the accomplishments we've achieved, the progress that we've made, usually we look at the mistakes we've made, the opportunities we've lost, the missteps that we've experienced. That jumped out at me this week when I looked at the New York Times. Well, that wasn't this week. It was a few weeks ago. A New York Times bestseller list, and saw that one of the titles on that bestseller list was "I Would Leave Me If I Could." I would leave me if I could. It's actually a book of poetry written by Grammy Award nominated platinum selling musician Halsey. Her name is Halsey. Now, in this book, Halsey explains that she has suffered deep pain from her bipolar disorder. Have you ever felt like that? Like you would leave yourself if you could? Please, click on the thumbs up button. And if you haven't already done so, please choose to subscribe. Subscribe is down in the lower right-hand corner, and the thumbs up button is directly below the video. I'd appreciate your clicking on that thumbs up button. And also remember that I'd love to hear your thoughts, comments, questions, ideas, and you can put those in the chat box on the right if you're viewing this live. Now, if you're not viewing this live, if you're viewing it in replay, the chat box is not there. So you can put it in the comment section below the video. Okay. So it's understanding that living with a condition like bipolar disorder can make you pessimistic about life and about the future. But most of us are not bipolar. Our self-sabotage is not a result of chemical imbalance. Our self-sabotage is the result of a society that loves to destroy our self-image. At least that's part of the reason. We live in a society that loves to destroy our self-image. It's a money-making proposition. We're surrounded by messages that highlight our flaws in order to sell us products. So we're hyper-aware of our shortcomings and convinced that we can be fixed by something outside of ourselves, that we can improve our bodies by working out or regrow our hair or whiten our teeth or make ourselves smarter. You can do all that. Yes, that's true. But the trouble is, even if those products actually deliver on their promises, they fail to do anything about the underlying problems of how we feel about ourselves. You know, many years ago, Dr. Maxwell Maltz, a successful plastic surgeon, discovered that when he successfully performed cosmetic surgery to improve the physical flaws that a person may have found about themselves, it often did not change the way the patients felt about themselves. Even though he fixed the problems they had highlighted, I need to get a new nose, I need this or I need that, even though he fixed it, they still felt the same way about themselves. They still felt ugly. So he wrote the book Psychocybernetics. Psychocybernetics. And in that book, he explained to people how to overcome their own self-critical tendencies. That was some time ago. Since then, his book has been completely updated, and now it's Psycho-Cybernetics 2000. I've done it again. Where am I? There I am. Sorry about that. Psycho-Cybernetics 2000. So there are remedies to this self-hate, this pulling ourselves down, this pointing out our past mistakes and ignoring our past accomplishments. There are remedies for that. But one of the things that sticks out for me most is that the most powerful tool we have to repair our self-image is forgiveness. If we forgive ourselves, then we go a long way towards forgiving or cleaning up our image. I know we've heard it all before. Forgiveness. It's all over the airwaves. You know, they got movies on it and TV shows, and there are dozens of books, and people talk about it a lot on TV. Forgiveness. So forgiveness has actually become a part of the background noise. It's been talked about so much that it's actually part of the background noise. That, however, does not diminish the power of forgiveness. That does not diminish the importance of forgiveness. Forgiveness has to be a necessary element in our lives. It has to be. But one of the things I've noticed about this frantic atmosphere of promoting forgiveness is that it's always directed outward. We're admonished to forgive those who hurt us. We're instructed to forgive those who have offended us. We're urged to forgive those who have disrespected us. But what is not acknowledged is the fact that we need to forgive ourselves. Yes, we need to forgive ourselves. Others may have harmed us, but we have also harmed ourselves, and we need to forgive ourselves. We have hidden guilt and shame about things from as far back as our childhood, so we need to forgive ourselves. We have shame that is hidden and deep, as evidenced by the book by John Bradshaw some years ago, Healing the Shame That Binds You. Healing the shame that binds you. It locks you in place. It holds you back. Your shame. There are things about you that nobody knows, but you do. There are things about you that you've never shared with anybody else, but you know about them. And they are anchors. They are like anchors on your boat. They hold you in place, and they will not allow you to move forward into open waters, into wider horizons, into greater opportunities. You know you have the talent, but somehow it never really expresses itself. Forgive yourself. You know you have the ability, but somehow you never really got the opportunity to show it. Forgive yourself. You know you have what it takes, but the door keeps getting slammed in your face. Well, believe it or not, the one that is slamming those doors in your face is you. So open that door. Forgive yourself. Open that door. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. I have listened to many stories of outrage and pain over the injustices that have been inflicted by one person onto another, or by one group onto another. We hear a lot about it today, the anger that's expressed towards Asians. I mean, it's always been gone about against blacks, but now Asians are getting the brunt of the anger and abuse because of the COVID-19 virus. But I've discovered that the one who is quite often, the one who gets hit bears malice against herself or himself. The one who is hurt feels badly and blame themselves. They judge themselves because they got caught. They judge themselves. It was my own fault. How could I have let him get away with that? Or how could I have let myself be placed in that position? How could I have let myself be treated like that? How could I have not seen this coming? How? How could I have stayed in that situation? The self-blaming, the self-shaming, the self-destructive judgment can go on and on and on and take many forms, but the bottom line is that when we are injured or insulted or taken advantage of by someone else, we often blame ourselves for it as much as we blame the other person. We blame ourselves. And then to make matters worse, we punish ourselves. We punish ourselves for allowing ourselves to be hurt, which takes the injury to a whole new level. So now we got a double whammy. Not only is there the original pain we got to deal with that's inflicted by someone else, we got the added on pain we got to deal with inflicted by ourselves on ourselves. So we need to learn how to forgive ourselves before we can even think about forgiving someone outside of ourselves. Unforgiveness is the gift that keeps on giving. Unforgiveness against ourselves appears in the form of shame and guilt, anger and resentment, judgmental attitudes, and fear. Fear, all of which create and perpetuate chronic stress. As I've told you before, chronic stress can lead to high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, nerve diseases, psychological disorders, and a large percentage of cancer patients have unforgiveness issues. A large percentage, 61% of cancer patients discovered by the Cancer Treatment Centers of America, 61% have unforgiveness issues. So let me direct you to the words of Eleanor Roosevelt, wife of the famous President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Eleanor said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. No one. No one. No one." So, right now, I'd like you to do me a favor. Right now, I'd like for you to step in front of a mirror and look yourself in the eyes and repeat these words. Permission denied. That's right. Permission denied. Seriously, permission denied. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. And you've been giving consent to yourself for so long to make you feel bad. Permission denied. Tell them, yourself, that you will no longer give them permission to do that to you. You will no longer give them permission to do that to you. You got to stop it. It has to stop right here, right now. Permission denied. You no longer have permission to make me feel inferior. You are too valuable to the world to be treated like that. Yes, you are too valuable. You are too important to the world to be treated like that. Yes. So do not mistreat yourself anymore. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. So you did something in the past that you would not do today, that you're ashamed of. But you know what? You wouldn't do it today. Why not? Because you know better. Trial and error. That's how life is built. Trial and error. You made an error, you learned from it, and now you can move on. Let that go. Stop holding on to it. Forgive yourself. Life is a process of trial and error. Forgive yourself. You learn from your mistakes. Forgive yourself. That's how we progress. Forgive yourself. Yes, because you can't progress if you hold on to your mistakes. So how do you accomplish this act of forgiving yourself? Well, there are a number of techniques, but let me share just one with you, just one. First of all, get into a comfortable position so that you can relax and allow your body to let go of its job of supporting you, of trying to keep you safe, of trying to keep you alive. Just find a safe place, relax. And then we're going to start off with this serenity prayer. Infinite intelligence, please grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Okay, the reason for that is you want to get yourself into a space where you can disconnect a bit from these things, these memories, where you can gain some emotional detachment. Emotional detachment is important because if we go back and remember the things that we feel badly about, we don't want to get caught up in the emotion of that time because we're away from that time. So we need to maintain some distance as we look back on our memories, okay? So we've got this distance. Next, imagine yourself rising above a long railroad track. And as you look over the railroad track in one direction, you see there are stations. That is your past, stations along the past. And as you look in the other direction, you see that it's a little blurry because that's the future. It's not clear. It's not well defined because it hasn't happened yet. Okay. So now looking back at the past at those stations, rise up and drift over them and you'll see that some of them are brighter and prettier than others. Those were the fun times. Some, on the other hand, are darker and uglier. Those are the times that you want to pay attention to for the moment. They usually have strong ugly red or green coloring that's infused with black. It's not very pretty. It's kind of nauseating to look at it, unsettling. Okay, go over one of those spots where that darkness is and watch it. Allow yourself to watch what happened. Go back over that memory, but remember we're detached, so you're watching it as an observer. You're watching it as an observer. Watch what happens. Watch what goes on, the mistakes that are made, the miscommunications that happen, the unrealistic expectations that were in effect. And while you watch the event play out, notice the pitfalls and how one mishap led to another. Notice how fear played a role in what happened. How fear pushed you into saying and doing things that you wouldn't do today. So as you watch that event play out, continue to maintain your detachment as an observer. But now, as you watch it, allow the emotions that were part of that event to drain away. Allow the color to fade away. Allow yourself to let go of the emotions. And as the emotions drain away, the picture becomes less and less colorful, like a black and white movie. While you're doing that, I want you to repeat these words. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. I now know that I was doing the best I could at the time, and I forgive myself. I let myself off the hook because I have learned the lesson that was there for me, and I now know better. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. And I now accept the peace that passes understanding because I know that I am loved and protected and forgiven by infinite intelligence expressing in me as me. I am forgiven. I forgive and I am forgiven. I forgive and I am forgiven. You see, by forgiving yourself, you give yourself the power and the strength to forgive others because you now know that their actions did not diminish you. Forgiving yourself returns you to a state of wholeness. Only you can diminish you, and you no longer have permission to do that. Remember what Eleanor Roosevelt said, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent, and you no longer give that consent to anyone, not even yourself. Not even yourself. Permission denied. You are too important, and you are too powerful to be diminished in that way. Capiche? Let's close with prayer. Thank you, Infinite Intelligence, for bringing all of us together in this life so that we may become spiritual warriors and join in the work we have come here to do. Thank you, Infinite Intelligence, for bringing us into this space of awareness and a deeper understanding of ourselves and our relationship to life and infinite intelligence. Thank you for showing us who we really are. We open our minds and hearts to the truth of our being. We are the children of God. We are individualized expressions of infinite intelligence. And because we are part of the greater whole, we are beginning to understand our value to the community, the continuity of life on this planet. As we become channels of your power, infinite intelligence, we can feel your presence within ourselves and within our lives more and more. We know that as we feel your presence within our lives every day, we will rise because we are no longer cut off from you by being immersed in the darkness of fear, anger, and the pain of unforgiveness. So we are now restoring our connection through the grace of forgiveness, knowing that as we learn to forgive ourselves for the pain we have caused to ourselves, and as we learn to forgive those who have inflicted pain upon us, our connections will grow stronger, and our lives will grow happier and healthier and more prosperous. And for this, we are truly grateful. As above, so below. As within, so without. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. Thank you for spending some time with me today. Please remember to click on the thumbs up button below the video. And if you have any comments or thoughts, please put them in the comments section below the video. I'd love it if you would, if you haven't already done so, if you would subscribe, which is the button on the lower right-hand side of the screen. So, in the meantime, have a great weekend. Remember, my name is Reverend Andrew Bozeman, and this is On the Wings of Your Mind.